You're watching a fun cartoon about all your dreams coming to life. But then it hits you. Nightmares are dreams too. Adventure Time isn't just a cartoon. It's a strange, surreal mirror for growing up. It's about how life gets messy, how people change, and how the world never quite makes sense. But somehow, you keep going anyway. And in the middle of it all are Jake and Finn, a talking dog and a human boy. Weird, right? But they're more than that. They're what it looks like to love someone unconditionally, to face loneliness, heartbreak, and growing pains together, to laugh through the chaos and still find meaning in it. People fall in love with Adventure Time because it doesn't talk down to you. It tells the truth in its own bizarre way. It shows you that even in a post-apocalyptic candy kingdom, the scariest and most beautiful thing you can do is grow up and still keep your heart open. And no matter how far the story stretches, it always comes back to Jake and Finn, two souls just trying to figure it all out, one adventure at a time. So, let's talk about Finn the human. When you first meet Finn, he just seems like this loud, goofy kid, always running around with his sword, getting into fights with candy monsters and yelling stuff like mathematical at the top of his lungs. He's all energy and adventure, and honestly, it's hard not to love that. But the more you watch Adventure Time, the more you realize that Finn, he's not just the hero. He's the heart of the whole show, and that heart, it's complicated. He's literally the last known human in Ooo for most of the series. Just think about that. Imagine being the only one of your kind in an entire world. That's not just lonely, that's existential. And yeah, he's got Jake and all these colourful characters around him, but there's always this quiet sense that Finn doesn't totally belong anywhere, and you can feel it. There's a scene where Finn sees a future version of himself, just drifting through space, completely alone. And it's kind of haunting, because it taps into this fear that's been following him from the beginning, that no matter how many adventures he goes on, no matter how much good he tries to do, he might still end up alone. And then there's this whole thing with Princess Bubblegum. Man, that crush is intense and painful. He's head over heels for her, and she's just not in the same place. At first, it's kind of funny, but the more you see it unfold, the more it hurts. It's like watching someone love a version of someone that doesn't really exist. That episode is huge. Finn sings this raw, awkward little song, and it's the first time we really see how bad he's hurting. It's not just about romance, it's about rejection and not knowing how to deal with it. It's painfully real. And when his dad shows up, Martin, that messes Finn up more than anything. You'd think finally finding your dad would be this beautiful emotional moment. But nope, Martin is a selfish, chaotic wreck, and instead of bonding with Finn, he bails. That episode broke me. Finn builds this giant tower into space just so he can punch his dad in the face. It's wild and symbolic and hilarious, but underneath all of it, there's this kid who's dealing with this abandonment and pain the only way he knows how, by trying to control it, by literally reaching out and fighting it. And that's so real. He wants to fix things. That's his biggest flaw. Finn needs to make things right, whether it's a broken sword or a broken heart. He can't stand leaving it unresolved. But life doesn't work like that, and over time, he starts to get it. There's this painful moment where his spirit floats away out of his body and watches the world go on without him. And it hits him. Not everything needs him to fix it. Sometimes just being is enough. As Finn grows up, so does the show. He stops chasing perfection and starts learning how to sit with uncertainty. In Breezy, he explores what emotional healing actually looks like. And in Puhoi, he imagines an entire alternate life where he finds love, gets married, has kids, and eventually lets it all go. It's a weird episode, but incredibly honest, because at the end of the day, Finn just wants peace. He just wants to feel whole. And then there's The Vault. That one's underrated. We meet Shoko, one of Finn's past lives. A thief, messy, flawed, but trying. And it's such a powerful message. We're not born noble or heroic. We become that way, through choices, through pain, through growth. Finn's not the strongest hero in Ooo. He's not the smartest, but what makes him unforgettable is how hard he tries. He gets knocked down, he loses people, he messes up a lot, but he always comes back with a bigger heart. He grows slowly and painfully into someone who can carry the weight of being human. And that's not just a hero arc, that's a life arc. This was the story of Finn the human, a lonely kid who kept walking forward no matter what. Finn's journey is messy, beautiful, and painfully human. He stumbles, he breaks, he grows, and through it all he never stops trying to do the right thing, even when he doesn't know what that is. That's what makes him more than just the last human in Ooo. He's us, confused, hopeful, brave, even when he's scared. But Finn never walks that path alone. Behind every sword swing, every heartbreak, every lesson learned, there's Jake, laid back, loyal, and quietly carrying more than anyone ever really notices. Finn is the heart, but Jake is the soul. And if you really want to understand why Adventure Time sticks with people long after the credits roll, you have to understand him. Because beneath the jokes and the jazz and the stretchy powers, Jake is one of the most quietly profound characters the show ever gave us. Let's talk about the dog who kept it all together, even when it was falling apart. So, Jake the dog. Everybody loves Jake. He's the chillest guy in Ooo. He plays the viola, makes amazing bacon pancakes, and always has some weird nugget of wisdom to drop at the perfect moment. He's the kind of friend you want around when things fall apart, because he makes it all feel less scary. But here's the thing, the older you get, the more you start to realize that Jake's chill isn't just chill. It's a cover. He's laid back, yeah, but that doesn't mean he doesn't feel things. Jake has insecurities, deep ones. He just hides them in jokes, laziness, and detours. And that's kind of the genius of this character. At first you think he's just comic relief, but as the show goes on, you start to see the cracks. There's this one episode where he hides out in a cave and narrates the life of a bunny for days. It's played for laughs, but it's also about escapism, avoiding responsibility, real life, real pain by turning everything into a story. And then there's his family. Jake's relationship with his kids, it's complicated. He loves them, you can feel that, but he's kind of absent too. Like in Ocarina, when his son Kim Kil-Hwan calls him out for being a cool dad but not always a present one. And Jake doesn't get defensive, he listens. He knows he's messed up, and you can see him really try to be better. It's not that Jake doesn't care, it's that he doesn't always know how to show up. He's been winging life for so long, stretching himself through problems, literally and emotionally, that when real responsibility shows up, it overwhelms him. Even his origin is weird. His parents weren't exactly nurturing, his mum was this tough-as-nails adventurer and his dad kinda just there. Jake grew up in that, learning to keep things light, to go with the flow, because that's how he survived. But under all of that, there's this deep well of love, and nowhere is that more obvious than in his relationship with Finn. Jake loves Finn, like a son, like a brother, like his best friend. That bond is unshakable. When Finn's hurting, Jake's there. When Finn makes mistakes, Jake lets him. He doesn't hover, he lets Finn grow, even when it's hard to watch. Remember when Finn's crushing on Flame Princess and he's about to blow it? Jake gives him that awkward, heartfelt talk about love and connection. It's clumsy and a little weird, but it's real. Jake doesn't always say the right thing, but he means it. He's also surprisingly wise, not in a flashy fortune cookie kind of way, but in that slow, lived-in wisdom you get from just being alive and messing up and figuring things out one mistake at a time. In that episode when Finn is grieving Prismo, Jake ends up in this surreal time loop space, and he just kind of accepts it. No panic, no freak out, just calm curiosity. That's Jake in a nutshell. He doesn't fight the weirdness of the universe, he flows with it, and somehow that makes him one of the most stable characters in the show. But even Jake's got limits. In the later seasons we see him age. We see him face things he's never had to before, like uncertainty and morality and regret. And in Together Again, when he and Finn reunite in the afterlife, man, that episode is pure emotion. It hits you like a wave, because no matter how far apart they go, no matter how many lifetimes pass, Jake is always waiting for him, with a hug, with a smile, with peace. Jake isn't perfect. He runs away from stuff. He avoids hard talks, he messes up more than once, but he's loyal, he's full of love, and even when he's scared, he never lets that stop him from showing up when it really counts. That's what makes Jake so special. He's not the loudest, he's not the bravest, but he's always there with his stretchy arms, his tired eyes, and his heart that's bigger than all of Ooo. This was Jake the dog, the easygoing soul who carried more than he let on, and loved more than he ever said out loud. In the end, Adventure Time is about the spaces between the dark and the light. It's about those moments when the world feels impossible, and yet somehow you find the courage to keep going. Not because it's easy, but because the people you love make the journey worth it. Finn and Jake are opposites in a way. Finn, with his fiery passion, always reaching for something bigger, something more, and Jake, with his calm, laid-back wisdom, knowing the value of just letting things be. But together, they're the perfect balance. They show us that life isn't about being perfect or always knowing the answers. Sometimes it's about stumbling through the mess, falling, getting back up, and finding comfort in the fact that you're not doing it alone. There's darkness in Adventure Time, sure. Pain, loss, confusion, things we don't always know how to talk about. But there's light too, and in the cracks between those two things, there's something magical, something real. Jake and Finn, in their own way, are both teaching us the same thing. You're never really alone, even when it feels that way. And when you have someone beside you, someone who gets it, you can survive anything. That's the power of connection. And maybe, just maybe, that's the secret to making it through the mess of life.